Okay, let's move on to our last one this morning. And property development expert Steve Chandler joins me to discuss some pretty significant announcements this week in the ACT regarding urban infill and planning. Steve, good morning. Thanks so much for your time. Let's start right at the very beginning. Are you with us? Yes, you are.
I am indeed, Rob.
Is the ACT, let's start with the stamp duty. Is the ACT scrapping stamp duty for owners and occupiers for homes under $500,000? Is that a positive, do you think?
I would say any time that any government scraps a tax, it's got to be a good thing. So, yes, it is. It is, Rob, because just helping people get started in the property industry is obviously very, very important. It's just unfortunate that the government hasn't really sort of made it available to a lot of people, if that makes sense, because it is only off the plan sales. And when you look at what's happening in the off the plan sales market, so that's a development that hasn't been built yet, what you're effectively limiting it to is one bedroom apartments or studios. And that's sort of a tough place to be. I mean, if you're a young family trying to get into a first home, if you've got a young child or two kids, it's very difficult to live in a one-bedroom apartment.
Exactly. So how does this align with the government's, what do they call it, the urban intensification ambitions?
Look, urban intensification is, in my view, a good idea. A lot of people don't like the fact that we might end up with more apartments, more townhouses in a local suburban area, and I fully understand that. But when you look at the fact that we do have a growing population, and there is a need for people to live, close to work, so they don't have to travel for long distances, etc. The choice is going out. And if you expand outwards, you end up with massive urban sprawl. And I've never been really keen on sprawling out. If you look at Melbourne as a classic example, Melbourne is unconstrained in its perimeter, so it's just going outwards, sideways. Lots and lots of land subdivision. Do you want that to happen in Canberra? It uses,
but it wouldn't happen on the same scale, though, would it? It wouldn't happen on the same scale.
Oh no.
Steve. But you're talking about a vast metropolis as opposed to a country town, basically.
Yeah, it still means that you've got to take up agricultural land. It still means you've got to cut down trees.
True.
And if we're looking and if we're serious about climate change, we don't want to be doing that. So, for the people who are serious about climate change, who have a view that we shouldn't be, expanding the urban footprint, well, the only choice is actually to go up. So intensification doesn't have to mean, skyscrapers. What it can be is turning a sort of a 900 square metre block of land with one house on it into two homes or maybe 3 or 4 apartments or townhouses. So still two-storey development, nothing, that's going to create massive overshadowing. It's just, as they say, an intensification of the use of the land. Then it can be shared around a better footprint of area.
Well, just one thought that occurred to me as I'll see if we can get through it in the time available, but are there enough developers out there willing to build homes that would sell for under $500,000? Most of them would be looking at the higher price ranges, I'd imagine.
I would suggest no. I mean, if you were to just jump onto one of the real estate sales platforms and have a look at what's up for sale, etc. When you look at those prices, there's a lot of older property that you can get for sub 500,000, but you're picking up maintenance issues. It starts to get expensive to own a cheaper property. Newer property is, you're not going to get a developer who's going to create a lot of new property in the sub $500,000 area.
Yeah, sad but true. You're right. Okay, we've got to leave it there, Steve. You got to go. I've got to go. That's even more important. I've been here too long this morning, as it is. Now, look, thanks for joining us late in the morning. I appreciate it, Steve.
More than welcome. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, mate. Steve Chandler, who's a property development expert.